Okay, so I know what I said, that I was only going to do a short and that was it on the Five Nights at Freddy's film. But clearly, I have changed my mind. So, hello and welcome. I'm Zombie Kitty and welcome to another film review vlog thingy that I tend to do. I originally wasn't going to do this, I was just going to do a short and that was it. But I have a lot that I want to say. I couldn't put it all into a YouTube short. So, how I'm going to do this is the same way that I do all of my film review videos. So, this first section is going to be spoiler free. So no spoilers, nothing at all, until we get to the spoiler section. So I'm going to talk about spoilers, and then there's going to be like a picture warning coming up, and then I'll go into spoilers. But if you haven't seen the film, don't worry, this isn't spoiler section here. So don't worry about that. This is just going to be my overall thoughts on the film and stuff like that. So, after 8.5 years, what did I think of it? Well, you have already seen the short. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I had a lot of fun, and it really felt like the audience in the cinema, you know, they knew what they were going to see. They were up for it as well. It's the most lively I've seen a cinema since probably Spider-Man No Way Home, to be honest, which was quite a while ago. But UK audiences, we don't tend to sort of react very much. It's not like we're American audiences where they clap or they whoop or whatever. Like, we don't tend to do that much. So the fact that we had a few gasps, we had a few like yells at the jump scares and stuff. Yes, there is jump scares, because of course there is. I think was really, really good. It showed that everyone was into it, and everyone seemed to have come out quite happy, which is also a good sign. The acting in it I thought was really good. I really, really enjoyed it. Matthew Lillard, I think, was fantastic. Matthew Lillard and the actress who played Vanessa, who's the police officer, I think they were the standouts. Josh Hutcherson was fine. I think he was good for what he needed to do. But I did really like his relationship with Abby. So that's Mike's sister in the film. And I really liked their sort of, I guess, struggle throughout the film. But yeah, I definitely don't think that Josh Hutcherson was the standout, but you know, he was good enough for what he needed to do, and actually he still carried the film as well, and did that quite effortlessly actually, which I thought was good. The actual location, the costumes, the animatronics, I mean, if you've seen them, especially in like Dorko's vlogs and stuff like that, he's now put up his behind the scenes vlogs, like the puppetry work and the animatronic work in this film is incredible, and I feel like that's the big highlight and that's the big positive that a lot of reviews are gonna sort of give, is towards the costumes, what the restaurant actually looked like. It looked like it was lifted out straight out of the game. Like, it was amazing. It was incredible, and there were some really nice Easter eggs in there as well. I'll point out all the Easter eggs and references that I spotted in spoiler talk, so you guys don't get spoiled with that. Because if you haven't seen the film yet, I want you guys to like see if you can spot certain things. I think the other thing I really liked about the film was the actual whole aesthetic. Like, it felt like an 80s horror film, which I really, really liked, especially with, you know, the murders taking place in the 80s and stuff like that, and Freddy Fazbear being a pizzeria restaurant from the 80s. I thought the fact that they decided to go with like an 80s aesthetic, like an 80s horror film aesthetic, I think really, really worked. So there are a few sort of cheesy moments, there are sort of a few silly moments, but again, it felt like something that you would have picked up from the 80s. You know, like when you find like Gremlins or something like that. Like, it felt sort of in that kind of tone, which I quite liked personally. I don't think, and this kind of brings me on to the story, and I won't say too much here, but I think that's what's going to divide people, I think. Whereas I really enjoyed it, but I think the story and how it's written and its tone is probably definitely going to divide people. I'll go more into that in spoilers, but Whether you like the tone or not is up to you. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, it is up to you. But yeah, I definitely think the animatronics and the location and like the actual setting is really going to be a big plus for a lot of people. Because like, I mean, it looked incredible. Like, care has clearly been given to creating this adaptation, and the fact that in the opening credits, Scott Cawthon, who's the creator of the games, he was really heavily involved actually, which I think is a plus when adapting something like this. So I was quite happy to see his name pop up quite a lot in the opening credits. I think the only thing I'm undecided on at the moment is the pacing. So it does kind of, the pacing is a little weird, I will give it that. There are moments, and especially in the middle, where it has to slow down for certain things and certain information being given. And it was a bit like, okay, I get that. And some people might find that a bit boring, but I think for me, I don't really know what I'd change or remove, because even though those moments were slow, they were still important to the story and to the character development as well. Like, you needed those scenes, and this is the thing with, like, you know, a FNAF fan going into a FNAF film. Like, I know the story, I know the characters quite well by this point, because I've been there since, you know, I've been with the game since the start. But for people walking in not even knowing what a Freddy Fazbear is, you do need to have those character development moments, even if the fans actually know it. This is a film that's, you know, being advertised to the mainstream. So you need to have those scenes, you need to have those introductions. Because while we know who they are, newcomers won't. So at the same time, like, yeah, they were a bit slow, but I think they were still important for the film and they still fit into the film. And I wouldn't really change anything. I can't really think of anything to remove or change or adjust. I think it all worked really well, actually. Yeah, I mean, overall, it was a really fun film. I really, really enjoyed it. Was it worth the wait? I think so, personally. I really think so. I loved it. I came out with a big smile on my face. I'm still slightly shaking from excitement. It's been a few hours since I've seen the film. This isn't going up on the 25th, by the way, so I'm recording this on the 25th because it came out in the UK on that day, but this will probably go up on the 27th or 28th, just because other countries will get this on the 27th, and I don't want to release this early. There's also a review embargoes attached as well, so I want to wait until they lift and then I can release this. But yeah, overall, I really, really enjoyed this. It seemed like everyone in my cinema seemed to enjoy it as well and seemed quite happy with it. It's a really fun film. The animatronics and the locations is amazing. The music is really cool as well. And yeah, I love this. I really want to go see it again. I really want to go see this again. So, I am now done with the spoiler-free section. The next section is going to be spoilers. If you have not seen Five Nights at Freddy's movie and you want to go see it, you can switch off now, because once the little image, I'll get like a Freddy Fazbear image to come up or something for spoiler warning, but once that image disappears, we're just going to go straight into spoilers. So, here is your spoiler warning. Let's go. Okay, so, welcome to spoilers. Anyone who's still here who wants to go see the film? No, go see the film. Go see the film first and then come back. Okay, so, there's a couple of things that I want to bring up before I expand upon, I guess, my point on the Finn story. So, firstly, MatPat, you goddamn liar. Everyone gasped when he appeared. So, context, MatPat is a YouTuber who does FNAF theories. He's been doing FNAF theories since 2014. A lot of them have been proved correct. When the first trailer, I think it was the first trailer, or the first full trailer came out, he did a reaction video on it. And he basically said, oh, it's really nice that, you know, other YouTubers are at cameos. You know, shame about me. And he acted all really upset and all cryy, and we all believed him. So we all thought, well, he's not in the film then. That's a lie. He is in the film. He has a bit of a scene with some other characters actually, which is pretty cool. So he plays like a waiter, and there's a diner scene that he's part of. But he's in the beginning of that scene, which, yeah, when he showed up, people started murmuring as they heard the voice and recognised it, and then he showed up and everyone just went, because it was so unexpected, but it was so cool. I'm glad he was in it. I don't really watch like Matt Pat's videos too much. I've seen a couple of his like FNAF theory videos, and I think his Iris project video, the Jacksepticeye Ego video that he did. But I don't really watch his videos that much, but I can still recognise his place in the community, and obviously the big impact he has on the community. So I will say I was also a bit disappointed when he kind of implied that he wasn't in the film. And it didn't make a lot of sense to me either. So seeing him actually in the film, oh, it made me so happy. I'm so happy he's in it. That was so good. Obviously Corey Kenshin is in it. Yeah, he was in the trailer though. Yeah, Matt wasn't in the trailer. It was a very nice, well hidden moment, which I quite liked, and sort of really shows that even though the trailers did show, you know, a fair amount, we don't know everything. What we also don't know is the end credits song. It was Living Tombstone's FNAF 1 song. I had a feeling they were going to put that in, but the fact that it's actually there, oh, it was so good. So yeah, so the Living Tombstone's FNAF 1 song appears at the end credits, which I was like, oh, yay! So I'm really happy that song's in there, but I'm also really happy that the film did acknowledge like all the YouTubers, all the YouTube songs that like made it what it is. So I do really appreciate that, and appreciate that they put those in. But yeah, it was really funny like seeing all that. So what I mean by Finn's story is this is essentially an adaptation of the Silver Eyes. So it's the FNAF book. It's the first book in the FNAF trilogy. From the trailers, I kind of suspected that was going to be a thing, which I honestly was really hoping for, because the Silver Eyes, the first book anyway, was essentially a retelling of the FNAF lore, of the FNAF story, but just in a very simple way. And I feel like that was the best way to go about this. And I have seen sort of a couple of reviews already saying that actually the story didn't really work. It wasn't very well written, it was quite thin. And it was thin. I don't agree that it wasn't well written. I think it was really well written. I think it was really concise and well put together. But I think that's what's going to divide fans and divide people, is that actually it is quite a simple story, but it is the story of FNAF, you know, William killing the 5 kids. They get stuffed into the suits. They're the ghost children in the suits. Here we go. And one of the scenes I did like, actually, before I continue my point, is the ending where William Afton gets dragged off by the animatronics. That is straight from the Silver Eyes. Like 100% I recognise the shot. That was straight from the Silver Eyes. On one side I get that I think some people were probably expecting more from this film, but from the other end, like I said in the non-spoiler section, I feel like the film needs to be accessible to newcomers who don't know the franchise. And I think this was the best way to do that. So yes, it's a simple story, and it's probably quite thin to people who, again, know the franchise really well, but I think actually this was the best way to do it, that made it accessible for everyone. Because then fans know the story, but they're seeing it on the big screen. But newcomers to the franchise maybe don't know where it's going and can understand where it's going and follow along. So I get the disappointment, but I I don't agree with it necessarily. I get why they did what they did and why the film was that way. But then also, like, because I know the beats of the story, seeing them actually play out on screen for me was amazing. Like, let's talk about this. The Springlock scene happens, and I was not expecting that. I know loads of people made a joke about it on TikTok, but I actually legitimately wasn't expecting them to do the Springlock scene, where Afton gets by the Springlocks in the Spring Bonnie suit. And I don't know why I wasn't expecting it, but I was not expecting that. It's not as gory as what I was expecting it to be, but there is a few close-ups of the actual Springlocks, like, you know, digging into his chest and stuff, which was actually quite brutal. The sounds. You know, I watched Saw X a few weeks ago. I still closed my eyes when that Springlock went into his gut. I wasn't expecting it. And then that's when the animatronics, like, drag him off as he's still being springlocked. And that's straight from the Silver Eyes. Like, that is 100% from the Silver Eyes. And there were a few elements that did feel like they were from the books, and I think as well, I know that not everyone is going to read the books, so maybe that's where, like, people are like, well, you didn't really do much with the lore, it's not what I know it as. It's like, it is, but it's just not all from the games, which I quite liked. There was a few sort of Easter eggs and stuff as well to do with the book. So the diner that Matt Pat is in is called Sparky's. So Sparky was, I think it was a hoax from the first game, where Sparky the dog, where someone pretended that this dog animatronic was in the game and everyone believed it, and then it turned out to be fake. But Sparky's is the diner, which I quite liked. There's, obviously, you've got different, like, FNAF Funko merch in the prize corner. There's a Hex plushie, so Dorco's company, who do the FNAF plushies. There's a couple of Hex plushies in the prize counter. There's a Springlock suit that Mike and Vanessa find. The face plate was either Circus Baby or Eleanor from the novel trilogy. I couldn't really figure it out. It was either that or the other character. Vanessa being William's daughter was something I did not see. And again, I think that is going to divide people, because obviously Vanessa is Vanny in the games. Or was. I'm still annoyed about that. But I did like sort of the rewrite of this, and I still feel it worked, to be honest. And then, because the film kept going on, she kept being like, oh, I know. You find out that she basically knows everything. And when she reveals that she is William's daughter, it was like, okay, that all makes sense as to why you know how this place works, what happened. That all makes sense now, and the pieces have all sort of gone into place. That all makes sense. So I really liked that as well. Foxy's song, so the dum 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 dum, is in it, which I was really happy about. Like, I had such a big smile on my face throughout most of this film. But I wasn't expecting Foxy's little humming song to be in there, which I thought was really cool. And again, like, there's some really nice Easter eggs like that and references. The three biggest jump scares that got me were really stupid. Balloon Boy is in the film. Balloon Boy had the biggest jump scares for me, because they just come out of nowhere. The scares is something I'll talk about as well. But his jump scares just come out of nowhere, and he isn't like the actual animatronic, you know, the laughing one or anything. It's just like a little figurine. But it looked completely accurate from the second game, I thought. And that little shit made me jump so much. There is a mid-credit scene as well. I won't tell you what that is, actually. It is just something silly, but yeah, there is a mid-credit scene, just so you know. But yeah, that got the biggest jump scare from me. I think the scares were pretty good as well. I think that, obviously, with this being a jump scare game, there are jump scares in this. I don't think they were too bad, though. The biggest ones for me were the Balloon Boy jump scares, because they did come out of nowhere. A lot of the jump scares that you get is like the build-up kind of ones. but then you get the build up and then nothing happens, and then just as you start to relax, they happen. Or it's like, you know, you can see where the jump scare is going to be, which again I quite liked, because again it kind of works with FNAF, with especially the first game, where it's like, okay, you've messed up. You can tell there's going to be a jump scare at some point and you're just waiting for it. So I feel like the way that they did the scares and the jump scares were actually really worked here as well, because again, it made sense with the game. And I don't always like those type of scares, but again, I was going in expecting those type of jump scares with this, just because of how the games are. It sort of perfectly represented them, really. As well as the song, there was, now I'm trying to remember, I think it's the marionette music box is in the end credits as well. So again, there is sort of references to the games, there is sort of references to different music from the games. And I think the marionette music box also appears at some point during the actual film itself. So it was pretty cool to hear that, and again, hear that on the big screen. But yeah, I can't really think of anything else at the moment to sort of mention. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It felt like a very sort of 80s style horror film, which I think really worked. I really liked the scares, especially some of the jump scares. I thought the acting was really good. The music, I think, was fantastic. And yeah, I really enjoyed the story, but I know it's going to divide people with how simple it is. But I really enjoyed it. I think it makes sense for this being the first film in the... I think it's going to be a trilogy of films. Don't quote me on that, but I'm sure it's going to be a trilogy of films. I'm sure I've heard that somewhere. But if this is going to be the first film in the trilogy, then it makes sense that this is just like set up and character development and stuff like that. So it does make sense, but I get that also this is going to probably divide some people. But I really enjoyed it. I really want to see it again. So that's got to be worth something. Oh, and just one last mention. Spring Bonnie appearing out of the shadows was terrifying. It's in the trailer, but the actual scene is really cool. Spring Bonnie, the best. I mean, I got my Springtrap t-shirt. Yee! Yes, I did wear this to the film. But that was terrifying. But this was my vlog on the Five Nights at Freddy's film. Yeah, I wasn't going to do a video on this, but I actually have a lot of thoughts on it. So yeah, I thought this would be fun to just record. The next video that's going to go up won't be until Halloween. I've kind of run out of time, unfortunately, to film a couple more videos to schedule while I'm at Comic-Con. So yeah, the next video will be up on Halloween. So yeah, but I thought this would just be a fun thing to do and basically just sort of go crazy about the film. We've been waiting so long and I think it was really worth it. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you all soon. Bye!